Hi, and welcome back to Katie's Corner in Space after completing 26 weeks of Droughtlander. That's right, 6 months, half a year, longer than we want, but still so much more to go. And wow, I cannot believe this little community which grew out of my desire to keep talking about Outlander once the 6 seasons reviews were done. So much has happened to our cast and crew since then. Awards won, achievements attained, causes supported, and fun facts revealed. We've gotten to know how this incredible book came to be this addictive series, the humble beginnings of our Jamie and Claire, Sophie's second chance at becoming free, and Richard's inability to keep a secret. Oh, and as a channel, I have trolls, which I'm oddly proud of. Have you had your faux Sam gratitude today? I feel kind of proud of that. I'm not even monetized, but I get fake Sam, so I must be doing something right? Right? And over these last 6 months, we've gotten a host of clues as to what to expect in Season 7. So this week, we'll be rounding up every tidbit we have learned about who's coming to the Ridge, who's leaving, what adventures we can look forward to, and an estimation as to when we might get our Season 7. This is our Season 7 spoiler roundup. Yeah, this is going to be filled with all the information I've gathered, and so if you don't want to know what to expect, then this is not the video for you. However, I have loads of Droughtlander videos which would be great for you. I'll set up a card right about here for one of my favorites, and I hope you'll subscribe because next week I'll be back to tidbits about our stars and accomplishments and behind the scenes, whatever I can find. Please be aware, all being discussed is from press releases, interviews, or behind the scene images from locals releasing information gleaned on set. I'm attempting to do my absolute best to avoid conclusions drawn from reading the books because, as we all know, the books are not always followed. Now, before I start, I'd like to take a second to apologize for a mistake made in last week's video. It was an honest switching my brain did on the names of Castle Leoch and Lollybrock. I'd like to thank Okie Mom 50 for pointing out the foobar, but I'd also like to thank my fellow Droughtlanders for your very forgiving understanding in a mistake I know I feel worse about than you do. And here's what I believe we know so far about the coming season. And of course I managed to start with Jamie. We know Jamie is free, has Ian on his side. We know the American Indians helped to save him, but we do not know if they will be backing him up when it comes to Claire. In images, we know at some point our seasick, prone hero will be boarding a ship, and we know Claire will be without him on a boat. These pictures also give us a clue as to when in the story all of this will be taking place, as they were some of the first images released right after shooting began, and Claire's hair is still obviously short. We will be expecting quite a bit happening this season near or on the water, at least in the first episodes or so, as many of the shots we got, both images and video, include beach scenes and boat scenes. We know Claire is being held and can assume will still be held in prison awaiting a trial for murder, and we can hope Malva's true murderer will be found out, but we also know Tom Christie is watching out for her in an odd twist of personality. We also know we'll be seeing Lord John again, and he'll be bringing his adoptive son, William, with him. We also know that he's going to be dressed for fighting. However, whether Jamie and William meet again, we don't know that yet. As for the Ridge, there will be newcomers in the form of a Quaker brother and sister pair named Denzel Hunter and his sister Rachel. Denzel's a doctor, and once war begins, we know he'll be on the side of the revolution, though passively. He'll be offering his skills as a medical professional. As for Rachel, she's mostly along for the ride, as it's her place. Just before the reveal of the on-screen sibs, we got a look at a new addition to the cabin collection on the Ridge as well. Could be the Hunter's home, perhaps. If you've read the books, you know more is to come when it comes to Rachel, but I can't say what, of course. And it goes without saying Denzel will have to be a wonderful character because as a physician, he'll either have to be Claire's nemesis or a professional friend. And while I feel sure these two characters won't be changed much in transition from literary to on-screen presence, I just don't feel comfortable revealing which he shall be for those who haven't read. You never know, they might get killed off in episode 3 to make up for other characters who lived past their expiration date. We also learned very early on Brianna and Roger would be traveling forward in time, and from the clothing to a time I like to call post-groovy. Yeah, baby! Early 70s, when fashion was one funky time in time. I tried for a pun, it just wasn't punny. At any rate, with the two of them traveling forward, I wonder if one of my behind-the-scenes photos of Richard and one of the Jemmy twins wasn't really a costume photo. So this whole family goes to the future. Possibly. I know a few of you are dying to answer that one, but again, for those who read the books, zip those lips. However, just recently we discovered Roger alone would be traveling further into the past as well, before Claire's arrival originally by more than 20 years. In this voyage, he'll be meeting up with some familiar faces such as Dougal and Brian Fraser. We know that much from the returning actors. We also know at some point the face of Galis will also be popping up. However, if Galis dies in her late middle age, as Dr. Abernathy surmised while studying her bones, she certainly wasn't present back then looking the way we know the actress to look. Unless, of course, Galis too had an extra trip in time, which is doubtful. So we can be fairly confident a flashback could be involved at some time, and with the appearance of Roger's ancestor, Buck, it's quite possible we could see an on-screen story of the birth and how a motherless child became a Mackenzian name, recognizing the blood of the infant as well. At least it feels like the excuse to bring back such popular characters like Galis. We also know we will be seeing Jenny, though played by a new actress. Of course, she's not one of our characters who've passed. How Jenny appears could be one of multiple ways. She could be involved in a flashback or dream that she could also be part of the current story. And what an incredible story that would be for Jenny, who has not left her home before. And what's even better is Ian Murray Sr. could be joining her. Would it not be a wonderful joy to have young Ian show his parents what kind of man he's become? I do believe they'd be proud. We also know Lollybrock will be a location of interest during Season 7. Yes, this time I really mean Lollybrock. 'Tis no mistake, but the Fraser home was used early on, or at least was being prepped for filming early on. Thanks to the wonderful world of Twitter, we were treated to early on-site photos. And of course, when it comes to the folks back home, I can't forget Leary or young Joan. While I can easily imagine Jenny and Ian deciding to see the Americas and what has become of Jamie, Claire, their son of course, I really can't think of a scenario which would drive Leary from her life of bitching and bellyaching at the unfairness of her life. But I'd love to see Joan. She was a delight. And while Roger and Brianna will be traveling more than usual this season, we also know one of the characters being introduced this season will somehow directly affect their story. Rob Cameron is going to be a pivotal person in their lives. However, no details are forthcoming on how. Will he antagonize them somehow or help them in a way none other could have? Since Diana loves conflict, it's probably a no-brainer, but the question still remains: how? Brianna is a mother and inventor, and Roger is the local man of God, not really the kind of settled folks who get a bad guy. So it should be interesting. I'm very excited to see a newly freed woman join our characters. I do hope Mercy Woodcock is made into a regular part of the story as it goes on. I realize representation can be limited in colonial southern United States. Lord John is an anomaly who is an incredible, honest example of survival as a homosexual in a time when tolerance was not even a possibility in the society in which he lived. Diana said he just happened to be gay when she wrote him, and I hope the showrunners just happen to have to involve Mercy often in the upcoming season. I'm seriously not used to the whitewashed cast, even if by necessity for accuracy, in my TV shows these days. I'm doing my best to keep any personal comments regarding the books to myself, but I'm really quite excited to hopefully get just an honest view of the life of a person of color attempting to make their way in a country who, still to this day, hasn't found its footing equality-wise. Yes, I know I don't usually do political things here, but as a woman in the US with 3 daughters and a lot more fear for their civil rights this year than I had last, I'm gonna vent. And of course, all of this personal drama from our characters is happening at a truly monumental time in United States history. I've mentioned multiple times my parents are retired educators, and my father taught such subjects as world history, geography, and one of my favorite courses in high school was US history. You can imagine my excitement as we draw closer to the Revolutionary War. I'm very interested in how the story of Benedict Arnold is going to be handled. Personally, I always love reenactments of how people live day to day, survived encroachments on their towns and homes, and how families dealt with opposing views. It was obviously a time fraught with confusion and turmoil, but it's completely relatable as well. And that's it, all I have for season 7 so far. New characters, a trial for murder, new locations, returning to old ones, and some mystery as to not only why some characters are returning, but what trouble they could be causing our already troubled characters. I know, really, we just have a lot of the same questions, but it's always nice to see while we wait, progress is being made by the incredible team who work tirelessly to bring us the series we love. And with Diana admitting she's already seen the first 6 episodes, I do believe we are more than halfway through our wait. Trailers should be coming next year early, and I predict a release date very similar to last year's, but not confidently enough to actually say some fantastical date like March 19th. But I do feel strongly it will be in early spring. If I missed anything, or if you have a rumor you'd like to share, please feel free to join us all in the comments below. Please be mindful of posting spoilers without leaving a gap to hide them from those who are working to remain spoil-free. And while we wait for more news and entertainment from our stars and crew, why not take a look at some of the fun I've been having with Droughtlander over the last 26 weeks? And I'll see you there.